Hello, welcome to Pathways. I'm Stephen Bettles. On today's episode, I'm speaking with George Gintilas, and we're going to be talking about coming into presence. Welcome to the show.
Glad to be here, Stephen. Yeah.
Good to see you again, George. Yeah, coming into presence, a really interesting topic we're going to discuss today because you come from a very interesting background in terms of a number of different modalities. Can you give us a bit of an idea what your background is, and we'll start talking about what coming into presence is?
Yeah, certainly, yeah. Well, originally I was an accountant back in my 20s and a computer consultant, and then about late 20s I switched fields completely to do more what I passionately believe in and what I love doing, and which is now my life's work. And so I've been practicing now about 15 years. But I basically trained in the body psychotherapies and another form called PSH therapy, which is like an offshoot of hypnotherapy in a way.
Okay.
Very different from your normal traditional psychology, counselling, psychiatry, that type of psychotherapy in a way, and very pioneering, very powerful for a lot of people. And I get all the people that have done all the traditional, trying to think through their problems, and then they find me in some way, and really tend to help a lot. Yeah.
Yep. So you mentioned their pioneering work. So in what way is the work that you're doing pioneering, say, compared to, I guess, modalities of 10 years ago? Because there's certainly been a renaissance in the way that practitioners work now.
But very much, yeah, very much. Well, the body psychotherapy is about 30 years old now, 30, 40 years old at the most, but now they're getting well known, even in the traditional therapeutic community, as being very excellent for helping to release trauma and old bad behaviours that people just can't seem to let go. In the last 10 years, probably the PSH therapy is the one that's become more prominent. That's only about 15 years old, and really the basic cause of the PSH therapy is that we get you into your body, out of your intellect. We don't need to know what the problem is or what caused it, or because that'll just put you back into your intellect trying to figure it out. And the intellect is not where the solution is stored. It's really in the subconscious part of you, and that's what I specialise in, really, is in working on that subconscious part of you, the nervous system, where there aren't any words, really. And a lot of the problems were set, a lot of them in childhood, or even in the womb, when we've been born, and it's all pre-verbal. So it's all feeling-based, sensation-based, and that's a whole different ball game in working with that. Like a psychiatrist would medicate that, the nervous system, to calm it down, and then talk to you consciously to help you solve the problem. Whereas what I do is do a little bit of the conscious talk, but most of it is working directly with that nervous system that's causing the problem in the body. And a lot of times it's the intellect that keeps the lid on your body naturally healing, because your body knows what it needs to do to heal. You just got to create a space for the client or the person to finally give them a chance to let that natural process happen. And we've been brought up in a society that doesn't let the natural process happen. When you walk down the street, you have to look good. The intellect rules. You've got to look cool and good. But as I say to people when they come to see me, we'll let the intellect go now, and now all sorts of things are going to start happening that you wouldn't do in the street. So you get all its feelings and movements and sensations that start to finally release that natural process of healing. That
it's an interesting point, that. So there's you when people come to see you, you probably allow them or you develop a comfortable space that they can feel comfortable to express themselves in that way, let go of the barriers.
Very much.
Is that the defining difference between what you do compared to, say, other modalities of this type?
Well, the others probably try to do the same as well, but there's a difference between being really just present to really let a person be themselves. Like if someone started twitching, say, the shoulder during the session, I mean, maybe a traditional therapist will go, oh, what's he doing? You better stop. But coming to see me, it's like, oh, that's very normal. And I explain it to people anyway, that there's more freedom of movement, more freedom of being yourself, basically, expressing yourself in the work that I do, that allows people to really free up and be more themselves.
Have you noticed, are there any particular trends of issues that people have? Is it like certain trends coming up nowadays compared to, say, 5-10 years ago?
Oh, yeah. One of the big ones is, it just seems every second person that comes in to see me now will say, oh, I can't stop this thinking. I've got this overthinking. My head's just chattering. Got all these thoughts, I can't switch them off, and can you help me? And that's a big clue. It's actually the number one clue that tells us that there's a lot that people aren't really present. That the intellect's overruling, they're using it too much, and they're not really accessing more of who they really are to lower brains in their body, and to be more holistic, more themselves. And so overthinking is a big one. Anxiety is obviously a big one. It's gotten even more prominent in the last 5-10 years that I've been working. Depression, another one. People just don't feel happy, or they're racing. They don't know why they're running, and they don't know where the direction is. And that brings up all sorts of behavioural problems as well, and insomnia, not being able to sleep, because I just can't switch off that overthinking. And so my work helps to do that quite dramatically, actually. And a lot of people just can't believe the change after, sometimes even after one session.
So today we're talking about coming into presence, so being present in yourself. But what you're just saying there, that some people, I guess, they can be present, but they're either thinking too much, or they're not thinking enough, or how do you start to quantify that for people?
Yep. Well, the way I try to explain it is, there's a number of ways. There's a number of things that people do to not be present, and it's easy to say, "Oh, I'm present now." Like if you're sitting here, to a degree you are present, but there's also probably a portion of you that isn't. It's sitting there going off into digging up memories and old patterns, and or off into the future, what's going to happen next, and what if this happens, and what if that happens, and extra anxiety. And so I see that a lot in people as well. And I know it myself. I had it myself pretty badly in my 20s. I got into this work myself just to help me to begin with, and it's helped enormously. To now, I'm probably down to. I'm in my 20s. I had thoughts running in my head probably 99% of the time.
Are people like that? Like they can be walking around and they're sort of like they're physically present, but a vast majority of them's worried about the past. Another part of them's in the future, and 1% is present in the moment.
Probably, I'd say about that. 1% of people are probably fully present in the moment, really enjoying the present moment, because this is all that exists really. It's only this moment here now. Like me talking to you, you're talking to me. This is all that's real, and it's always now. It can never be not now. And anything that's not now is a memory. And people think there's lots of moments in the day and lots of nows. That the day's made up of thousands of them, but really, all that is thousands of memories, and all that really exists is this moment here now. And it's always now, and people think, oh, if I'm in this moment, then what am I going to do, or how am I going to be? But you can be yourself, and then the next moment, actually there isn't a next moment, it always is now, because whenever I say it's now, and it can never not be now.
So it's an extraordinary concept for the way we're goal setting, and this happened to you, poor you, that sort of thing. It's to get people to, I guess, re-engineer their whole thinking processes. How do you take people through that process?
Yeah, this is the thing. You can't figure it out in your intellect. I mean, we can talk about it here and get a sense of it, but it doesn't mean you're actually doing it. So my job in sessions with people is to help them actually get the experience of being more fully present in themselves. And to do that, the biggest thing is to let go of the intellect. And so that's what I do, is help them let go of having to think so much, and realise that who they really are isn't the thinking. What heals is you, not your thinking. But we tend to think that our thinking is us. But really it isn't. It's something we do, just like you beat your heart and nod your head and digest your food. Thinking is just another one of those functions. And that's in the way. When you think that it's you, that runs you, you think, oh, I've got to follow these thoughts. My thinking's saying this, and that must be true. And it runs. Then you've got all the ones that are subconscious that have been running for years, especially the ones from childhood, and you just forget they're even there. So they're just sitting there running, and the anxiety is just always there. This level of anxiety is always there in the person.
I guess the way when people come and see you, you get a sense of what you'll listen to their dialogue. Do you ask them particular questions to give you indicators as to where they're at, positioned in time, or what's a bit of the process?
Normally, I just ask questions about their symptoms. What are the symptoms of their lives, and the overthinking is one, and over worrying or lack of confidence. There's no reason for someone to not be confident. If you're drawing on past memories, thinking, oh, this is how I used to be. Oh, if I ever do that again, no, I'm not going to be confident. That's a past memory dictating how to be in this present moment, which is not real, really. May have happened back then, but that was then. But for some reason, the person will cling on to it. And so I'll just ask questions to get how they sleep, and whether they're anxious or depressed, or whether they like themselves, and the confidence levels, and whether there's nightmares, dreams tell us a lot as to what's going on subconsciously, and Not that we analyse the dreams, there's no analysis. Then after that, just a few basic questions without having to know what their problems came from. They just close their eyes and off we go.
Yep.
And my job is to help them let go of the intellect and let their body finally do what needs to do to be more present here in the moment.
So by being present, their body can actually overcome those challenges reasonably
very much,
quickly.
very much. What stops it is the intellect. The intellect is, oh, no, I can't feel that. That's not okay. When I felt it was okay. But if I let it happen and just not judge it as good or bad or right or wrong, because there isn't anything that's good or bad or right or wrong. It's just all the conditions that were put on to you by school and parents and conditioning growing up. They say, oh no, that's not right. Don't do that. And socially, you learn what's right and wrong as you mature. But a lot of those old patterns, which were too limiting, stay stuck, and so they'll pop up, and the intellect will try and say, oh no, you can't feel this. But if you just feel it non-judgmentally, just accept what's there. Okay, it may intensify for a few seconds, then it goes, and then people are going, wow, they just can't feel the difference.
You can feel a sense of release here.
Oh, amazing! Yeah.